Welcome to today's episode of MBKB Talks. We are delighted to have Chanel with us today. Chanel is the Business Development Administrator at MBKB, where she plays a crucial role in supporting business growth. Outside of work, you have a passion for travel, reading, and documenting her adventures. Chanel's worked in a variety of roles, from being a Saturday girl at hairdressers to working at Topshop and even managing an ice cream stand. She also spent 2 weeks in France for work experience, which was no doubt a great adventure. Chanel, it's fantastic to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed, yeah. So we are super excited to sort of hear more about your journey from your obviously diverse job paths. And yeah, your obviously solo travels as well. I know you recently went to Thailand, which we definitely will be digging into. Today's episode is solo travel and self-leadership and how taking risks builds stronger business professionals. So, let's dive in. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and also how all of these experiences have come together to bring you to your current role today?
Yeah, so I started working when I was 14. I just wanted some extra pocket money, so I was a Saturday girl in a hairdresser's. And then from there, like in the school holidays, I would work the whole school holidays instead of having any holidays because I just wanted extra money. I was a big YouTube girl, so I would watch like loads of makeup tutorials, stuff like that. And obviously my mum's not just going to buy me like a £30 palette whenever I want one. So I think that inspired me to get a job and start earning my own money, so I could then every week go and buy whatever the most popular YouTuber was buying. And then obviously watching YouTube, that inspired me to make my own videos, which some I don't really want to watch back. But then yeah, from there I just went from job to job really. I worked in an ice cream stand as I said, then I got a job at Topshop, and then I landed a job here.
Nice. Sounds like they all built up to get
Yeah.
to where you are now.
Yeah.
100%, yeah,
Good.
definitely, it does indeed.
Before we get started, let's give our listeners a little overview of what to expect in today's episode.
So yeah, we'll be talking about Chanel's experiences in business administration, her various different solo travel adventures, and also including her recent trip to Thailand, as I previously mentioned, and how she uses social media to sort of document all these experiences, really.
And we'll also explore how apprenticeships have helped Chanel grow personally and professionally, and how taking risks outside of work has made her stronger in her role.
And we'll also hear about her love for reading and her positive impact it's had on her mindset and also just her professional development as well.
Let's get started. Chanel, you've had such a varied career path, working at hairdressers, Topshop, and even the ice cream stand. What do you think these early jobs taught you about yourself and how they've shaped the way you approach work now?
Yeah, like I said, I started working quite early to be able to get my own things and like my passion for YouTube and makeup. I think starting working that early, because obviously in the school holidays everyone was out going to the cinemas doing whatever they was doing, and I was working in the salon. I think it really like helped me with like work ethic and just knowing if I want something then you've got to work for it. So I think it really helped with that, and also just experience in talking to people. My first few jobs were like very customer based, like I would welcome the customers in, make them a cup of tea, do the usual thing in a hairdresser's, and then obviously in Topshop that's talking to customers. So I think it just grew my confidence, especially because I was quite shy when I was younger, which I don't think most people would believe, but I was an extremely shy child. So I think having those jobs and that experience, I think it really helped me to grow my confidence to what it is now.
Yeah, that's wicked. Really like built that base up.
Yeah.
Like getting the confidence and being able to just talk to people, which it is difficult, and it's like these transferable skills now that you've got and you're set for life.
Yeah, I think it forced me to have to talk to people, so now I'm just used to
You
it.
do
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, you also spent some time in France as well, doing some work experience. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, and also how that opportunity sort of influenced your career changes going forward from then, really?
Yeah, so I did it with college. I did travel and tourism in college, so obviously I've had a passion for travel for a very long time. And then the opportunity came up. A few of us got chosen to go to France and work over there. The thing that I got most from that, because it was the most amazing thing one of the most amazing things that I've ever done. The person that I was working with, because only one of us we were all worked in different places, and the lady that I worked with didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak French, which is probably my fault. But so we had to like work a way of communication, and we actually became really good friends. Like how we worked it out was we'd get Google Translate, and I would be typing, I'd turn it round, and then she'd be like, oh yes, and then she'd type, and then I would be just waiting for her to type something, then she'd turn it round and I'd be like, oh, one second, let me type, and we actually became really good friends after that. Like at the end of the experience, like she brought me a Pandora charm and stuff, so that was just a nice experience, because it's not something you get to do very often. So yeah, that was really good.
And what was that doing? What sort of role were you doing?
So I worked in a sweet shop.
Okay,
so again, it was like customer service. Yeah. So, and mostly because it was like quite a touristy town, it was mostly like school trips and stuff that came in. So most of the customers did speak English. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Did you reckon that sort of influenced you in going into the role you've currently got today, or?
Yeah, I think I just enjoy quite like customer based work, so yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good, yeah. With all these experiences behind you, what's been the most eye-opening moment in your journey so far?
I think Thailand was a big one. I think all the jobs that I've done before have also encouraged me to now be able to solo travel, because obviously that's grew my confidence. So I do think that's had an impact on the experiences that I have now. But yeah, Thailand was amazing, I think. So probably Thailand.
Nice.
And do any of the experiences that you have done, sort of previous work and also just travelling experience as well, have any of these ever helped you sort of grow within your role as a business administrator at all? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously going solo, again, that just puts you out your comfort zone. So if there is an uncomfortable situation at work, I know that I can deal with it because I've dealt with much worse on my own. I think it really makes you realise that, you know, things that you think are big deals, you can actually just do them if you put your mind to it and you know that you can.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you can travel across the world in a foreign country, it definitely sure helps with some stress.
Yeah, that's exactly how I think about it.
That's really good. Yeah, so you recently travelled to Thailand solo. What inspired that trip and how did it differ from your previous adventures?
I think what inspired it, like most of the uncomfortable situations that I decided to put myself in, I think it comes from a place where I'm a little bit too comfortable, or maybe things aren't really going as planned in my life. And I think in those times, that's the most time that I'm likely to do something that I wouldn't normally do, or that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Because when I'm like a little bit too comfortable, I'm like, oh, I could just stay in this space forever, or I could do something to try and get me out of it. I think what inspired it was like, okay, I want to do something different. I don't want to stay in this space forever. So I was just like, what can I do? And then I start looking on TikTok like everyone does, and I get down a rabbit hole, and I was like, do you know what? I'd really like to go to Thailand. So that's what inspired it. And how it differs, I think just how far it was, and like the culture as well. Europe, I'm kind of used to it, obviously growing up going to Spain and stuff like that, I'm used to it, whereas this was like a completely different culture shock and stuff like that. So I think that's how it differed.
That sounds really good.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, by the sounds of it, you definitely like stepping out your comfort zone.
Oh no.
Which is a great feature to have. So obviously, when you were in Thailand, what different challenges did you face, and have you ever sort of carried lessons from those challenges, and maybe you could apply them to your role at MBKB, or?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think I was quite lucky, because I think most of the challenges was before I went, because when I got there, everything just seemed to go really smoothly, and I was like, oh, I was just waiting for something to happen, but nothing really did. I think the only thing that happened when I was in Thailand was getting ill. I think getting ill when you're that far away from home and you're on your own is really really scary, especially like not knowing if you need to go to a hospital or what the best thing to do is. But other than that, it was quite smooth. I think the most challenging thing was leading up to it and thinking, oh, can I actually do this? Like, what am I doing? What have I got myself into? But being able to push through that and thinking, like, it doesn't matter how scared I am, I'm going to do it because it's an experience.
Yeah, like building up, and then you had to take that leap, and then once you're there, you're like, okay, this is all
Yeah,
good.
the way that I try and look at it is I try and take it step by step. So I'm like, okay, so I've just got to get to the airport now. That's all I've got to think about. Like, I haven't got to think about everything, just get to the airport. And then I'm like, okay, I'm at the airport, get on the plane. And then it just becomes a little bit easier because you're not overthinking the whole situation. You're just thinking about the next step that you've got to take. And then you get there and you don't even need to think about the next thing. You're just enjoying yourself. So, yeah.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just for the viewers at home, I know they're probably going to want to know, but what was it that you caught in Thailand? What illness did you have? Was it?
I don't actually know because I didn't end up going to the hospital, which is quite bad of me. But it felt like dengue fever. Like it felt, it wasn't great. But I just isolated myself so I could get better. Yeah.
It's difficult as well not having your home comforts, and like I know I like certain things if I'm ill.
Yeah.
To not be able to have them wouldn't be.
And
great.
Also being in a hostel room with like 12 other people and I'm coughing my lungs out, like I'm like, oh my god, they're all gonna hate me. But to be fair, the people in the hostel were really nice because like someone offered to come to the hospital with me. They were asking if I needed food or anything. But I suppose when they were trying to sleep, they didn't like me very much.
Yeah. I can imagine that making friends while traveling can be quite tricky. How do you go about creating meaningful connections with people you meet abroad, and has that helped you become better at building relationships in your professional life?
Yeah, I think the main thing to make meaningful connections, I think it's just being yourself. I think I really went to Thailand and I was just like, I'm just going to be me. Like, I think that's the most authentically me that I've ever been in my life. Like, I didn't worry about anything. I didn't care about anyone not liking me or not liking me because most of the time I expected to be on my own, but I ended up never being on my own. So I think I was just myself, and I think people really like gravitate towards realness. And I think knowing that I was myself, that's what makes it so real, is because you're not trying to put on an act, you're not trying to be anything that you're not. Also, yes, because I think it's encouraged me to know that I can just be myself and people will like me or they won't, that's not a problem either, but like just being yourself. I think in a workplace as well, just being yourself and actually making real friendships in a workplace as well, because I think sometimes at work you can try and be something you're not because you've got to be professional and stuff like that. But yeah, I think just being yourself is enough, and that's when you'll find your people.
Having that authenticity to just be you, I think people definitely gravitate towards it for sure.
Yeah.
100%, yeah, I agree there.
Yeah.
How was sort of travelling like change your perspective on risk taking and stuff like that? And also maybe like looking forward, has it changed your sort of leadership within your current role? Because obviously you travelled out there. Has that sort of changed your perspective on that at all, or?
Yeah, I think solo travelling as a whole is a risk, especially like as a female. But I just have the mindset of like, you've got to take risks or you're never going to experience what you want to experience. So I think that's the risk. And I think it has changed like the leadership and stuff. It's definitely made me more confident. It's made me trust myself more, because when you solo travel, it literally makes you feel like you can do anything. So I definitely came home and I thought, you know what, I might be nervous to lead this meeting, but actually I don't have to be nervous because look what I've just done. So yeah, it's definitely helped with that.
Amazing, yeah, it's definitely great. I might have to try this solo travelling. It sounds like a great development.
So what draws you to solo travel, and what do you think it gives you that perhaps like travelling with a family or a group wouldn't give you?
Yeah, I think what originally drawn me to solo travel is like All my friends are in relationships, getting married, having babies, and I am still just the single friend. And so they're not really looking to like travel and do all these things because they can do it with their partner or whoever. And some people just don't want to travel, like some people, it's just not an interest of theirs. So I realised that if I want to do the things that I want to do, I've either got to wait around to see if I find someone who wants to do the same things as me, or I could just go and I could just be brave and do it on my own. So that's what made me decide that, do you know what, I'm not going to wait around for people, I'm just going to go and do it on my own. How it differs from going with your family or going with friends, I think it really makes you challenge yourself. Like, obviously, when you're around people that you're comfortable with, you don't find a need to challenge yourself. Whereas when you are on your own, that you have to challenge yourself. If you're scared to go and eat at a restaurant on your own, there's no choice. You either don't eat or you have to go and do it. So you're kind of forced into these uncomfortable situations, and they're the situations that make you grow and make you more confident overall. So I think that's how it differs.
Completely just builds your confidence and forces you to do these
You can definitely relax more when you're with your family, but it is a lot of fun going on your own.
Yeah, it's that comfort blanket really, I suppose, when you go with your family that you don't really have when you solo travel. But obviously when you solo travel, it's a bit more exciting, I suppose. And it's all part of the fun, I suppose.
And you're more likely to meet new people when you're with your family. You're, like I say, you're more comfortable, so you don't find a need to meet new people. But when you're on your own, you have to put yourself out there. So
sounds good.
So what advice would you give someone who's sort of considering, obviously, their first solo travel, and also they might be a little bit nervous to take the leap? What would you sort of recommend, and would you push them to do it?
I would say just do it. Like, people think that all these people that they see that are solo travelling aren't nervous or wasn't nervous before they went, but the thing is, everyone's nervous. No one is like super excited to go without the nerves. Like, I was terrified. I was saying to my mum before I went, I was like, what am I doing? Why have I put myself in this situation? But the difference is the people that you see that are out there solo travelling, they just have the courage to ignore the nerves and realise that the overall outcome of the situation is going to be an experience that is just like no other, really. Solo travel is a feeling that like I haven't felt for anything else that I've ever done. Like, so I recommend it to anyone, especially if you're thinking about it, then that means that you want to do it. So just do it.
It's like, do it scared, even if you're nervous.
Yeah.
Just gotta do it.
You have to.
What sort of advice would you give to somebody as well about like keeping yourself safe while you're doing it? Because like as a female traveling solo.
I think obviously just be aware of your surroundings. What I did was if I was walking around and I wanted to listen to music, I would only put one earphone in so I could still hear what was going on around me. Never tell anyone that you're alone. Like, if someone comes up to you like, oh, are you on your own? Just make sure that you tell them that you've got family back at the hotel or they're just shopping around, because obviously you can become a target then if someone knows that you're on your own. And I think just like public transport and stuff, just make sure that if you're getting a taxi, that it's like a taxi from an app where you can have the reg and you can see a picture of the driver, rather than just getting into some random taxi, because you never know who you're getting in a taxi with then. So I think just little things like that.
Just keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I think that is a big key thing about travelling solo, is the fact that you've got to always stay vigilant when you're out and about, because you don't know what's happening, especially being obviously in a different foreign country and all the different rules and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely agree there. But I have got one burning question that's on my mind that I actually saw on TikTok. So some of the viewers may have saw this as well. But what is the island in Thailand which is notorious for murders and missing people? Do you know anything about that? Because I'd love to know a bit more.
Yeah, that was definitely a topic of conversation when we were on that island. I actually didn't know anything about it until I was already there. It's called Koh Tao. And I think people on TikTok, you read about it and you think, oh my God, there's this big murderer that's going around killing people. But it's not that at all. I think it's big on diving there. So I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's got something to do with like cardiac arrest and stuff like that from diving. I did also hear about that apparently there's a mafia on the island. And we were going to the jungle party, and the friends that I made were sending me these TikToks about mafia being at the jungle party and loads of people going missing. But again, I mean, I don't know if that did happen, but when you're there, just make sure that you stay with your group and just don't wander off. Just never be walking around on your own, really, because I don't actually know if it is true, but I don't think it's this big scary thing that everybody makes it out to be. And also, if you are watching TikToks, don't let stuff like that and like the fact that I was saying be aware, don't let that stop you from going. Because also, as long as you make sure that you are being safe and being aware, it's less likely to happen than you think. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't let that stop you from going.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like you have to be aware here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I
you know,
mean.
if you go somewhere you don't know,
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the UK,
So it could happen.
can't
It
stop.
could happen anywhere. Yeah. So you've always got to be aware. So don't let that stop you from going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll take that on board.
For sure.
So yeah,
So we move on to apprenticeships then. You completed an apprenticeship with MBKB. How has this supported your career growth while giving you space to explore your passion?
Yeah, I think being able to earn while you learn, obviously that allowed me to travel and do what I wanted to do a lot earlier than I probably would if I went to uni. I also think like the working and learning at the same time, I think it does give you more brain power and brain space to actually think about the things that you want to do and like that you're passionate about. Because I can imagine, obviously, I never went to uni, but I can imagine that can take up a lot of time, all the assignments, like obviously it just looks very stressful. So I think just having a career while you're learning, it just gives you a lot more brain power to be able to explore the things that you want to do and also being able to earn money at the same time.
You literally always get your foot in the door straight away, as opposed to like if you've gone to uni, like I did, then you're like, oh, okay, now I need to find a job because I finished, as opposed to you've already got the job from day one.
Yeah, and it builds up experience as well.
definitely. Yeah. Now, if someone's on the fence about an apprenticeship, what would you say to them about sort of if they're a little bit on the fence? What would you say to sort of get them maybe to open their eyes to an apprenticeship?
I think do it. I think there's a lot of benefits. Obviously, like I said, you're earning while you're learning. You're getting a lot of experience. You're able to climb a ladder in whatever you want to do a lot sooner than if you went to university. And a lot of people and a lot of employers now want experience. So you could waste a lot of time at uni, waste a lot of money, and then it can take you years to actually get into the job role that you want to get into because you're left with no experience. And yeah, like I said, it gives you more opportunity to explore other things that you want to do at the same time as well. So I definitely recommend doing an apprenticeship.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
How has MBKB helped support your development, particularly while juggling personal growth like travel and content creation?
Yeah, I think working at MBKB is a big reason why I have been able to go and travel and do the things that I did, because obviously Mark's culture is, unlimited holiday and stuff like that. So I'm allowed the time, 3 weeks, whatever it is, to actually not have to rush the travel and be able to go to more places at one time. I think if I was in a different job, then obviously I probably wouldn't have even considered doing that. Obviously, a lot of people have to leave their job to go and travel, but I can go and explore places and still be working at the same time. So I think that's a big thing, and the reason why I have been travelling. So yeah.
So it's like really giving you that freedom to be able to do both.
Yeah,
And then come back and get back into it. That's really
Definitely,
good.
yeah. I think that's definitely a pro of MBKB, 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, what sort of have you had any transferable skills from your apprenticeship that you've learned which you've been able to apply in life and also work as well?
Yeah, I think again, just one being confidence. I think learning while doing your role, it gives you that confidence to know that you can do it, because you're not being thrown in at a deep end. Like, you're kind of learning while doing it at the same time. So I think just confidence in what I'm doing, and also just confidence in myself, really.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, has business admin helped you in your life with travelling? Obviously, with planning and like booking and stuff like that. Has that helped at all, or have you always just been good at that?
Maybe I haven't always been good at that. Maybe I think probably like organisation, and just being a whiz at, at like finding places. I've never really thought about that before, to be honest, but maybe it has. Yeah.
Very good.
Interesting. So we're moving on to sort of the making connections and sort of growing confidence section, really. So as a business administrator, obviously effective communication is sort of crucial. Now, how has your ability to connect with new people during solo travel actually helped you sort of manage professional interactions while also sort of maintaining sort of strong workplace relationships?
Yeah, I think definitely, again, I keep talking about confidence, but I think being able to go out there and meet so many new people, and I think coming back, it allowed me to be more confident in the way that I speak, more sure of myself, and also just realising when I do go away how much I actually enjoy being around people and enjoy hearing about people's stories. I think coming back and then also realising that, you know, people at work, they're just people too, and they have stories and they have their own lives. And I think especially in the work that we do, how we, you know, we work from home, I think sometimes you can read a Slack message and think, oh, like misread it and think, oh, have I done something wrong, or, you know, are they in a mood? I think it really helps me to realise that, you know, one, somebody might be having a bad day and that's okay because they're people too, or you can just send a message and be like, just like see the situation out, like not like oh, are you okay today, and just check on someone. So I think, yeah, just realising that like people are people, and I enjoy talking to people and hearing people's stories and stuff like that. So yeah,
It's just like picking up on those cues and being like, oh, that person seems a bit off today, I'll just check in.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think that helps, especially obviously working from Slack and stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think I agree there. I think sometimes it is, you have to sometimes do double check in, especially working from obviously home as well, because sometimes you might misinterpret a way a message has come across or stuff like that. So yeah, it's always good to just double check with them and how they get on, really.
Yeah.
For sure. Have your travel experiences changed the way you view people and connection in general? And how do you bring that perspective into your role now?
Kind of the same as what I was just saying, really, like a more understanding of people. And before, I would maybe be a bit too shy when I first started to, you know, message a team member and be like, oh, do you want to have a chat today, or do you want to have a meeting or something like that. Whereas now I'm just like, I like to have a chat with people. So probably just confidence in that as well.
Because you've literally just travelled all the way to Thailand on your own, so dropping a message to somebody at work to be like, oh,
seems mine now. Yeah.
So we're going to go on to a bit more reading, personal interests, because I know you're a massive reader. What kind of books do you gravitate towards, and how do they influence your mindset or approach to work, would you say?
I'm not going to lie and say that I read very educational books, but I mostly read like romance and stuff like that, so I don't think that really works into the work life. But I will say, I think, again, being a company that works from home, I do think that reading is a good way to switch off, especially when we're working on computers all day as well. It's a good way to, one, not transfer from one screen to another on your phone. It's a good way to just switch off and be in somebody else's world, because obviously I'm not experiencing any romance at the moment, so just experience someone else's.
I think that's one of the best things about books, though, and especially reading, because I quite like those sort of like romance novels, or, you know, sort of fantasy, I guess, as opposed to like fiction. And because you can just envision this world, and you take yourself there, and that's quite cool.
And I am quite new to reading over the last couple of years. Amy and Phoebe were actually the ones that introduced me, and I remember reading this first book, and I was like, you can actually picture, like, it's like you watch it. It's kind of like you're watching a movie, because you're imagining what's going on in your head, and you have like your opinion and your view on how someone looks, but then you ask your friend and they just imagine like a completely different person. So yeah, it's a great way to like escape and get away from, like, just to log off and like settle down after a day of working.
Love that.
Is there any books that have really made like a lasting impact on you? What's one book that's really made a real impact on maybe a life decision that you've made, or somewhere you've travelled, or something you've done within work? Or is there anything, a book that's really made an impact? Or
I wouldn't say a book because, like I said, it's a lot of romance that I read. But I would say there's a couple of like TV series maybe or movies that I have watched. Two that have impacted the travel was Eat, Pray, Love. That's a big one because I just watched the journey that is it Julia Roberts? Yeah, the journey that she went on, and when you do just escape into a completely new environment, how that can help you to grow. So that was one. And also something quite similar is Wild, but she doesn't go solo travelling. She goes through like a hike in America, and obviously she's just got a tent and like it's like camping, but she was completely on her own. And she did that to challenge herself. She was going through a divorce and I think she just lost her mum. And you just see a lot of like flashbacks and how it helped her to grow as a person, and move on from things in her life. So I think those were quite impactful. Yeah, those are probably the two.
Nice.
definitely,
Very
yeah.
good,
I mean,
Very
I
fun.
think I can agree with you on that. With like the sort, I'm more of a watcher than a reader, I suppose. I can get very agitated from reading, just a personal preference. But a video I can really take in, and I can take things away from that. So yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. So yeah, now let's talk a little bit about your future aspirations.
So looking ahead, what are some of your next goals, either personally or professionally? Is there another country on your list or something big you're working towards at the minute?
Yeah, I think I want to travel a lot more. Go to different places. I think Australia, Hoi Giang Loop in Vietnam. So I really want to do that. Also Cambodia, and just, to be honest, everywhere. I want to go everywhere. There's like not a place that I don't really want to not go. And then I just want to like grow in my role as well. I'm not quite sure how that looks at the moment, but I definitely want to pursue and see where else I can go.
That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, if you could obviously design your dream career that was based around stuff like solo travel, social media, business administration, what would it look like to you, do you reckon?
It would definitely have an aspect of travel in there. I mean, I think everyone's dream career is to be like a travel vlogger and just be able to get paid for traveling. But something that I don't know if it's really a career, but like something that I've been really interested in and I've wanted to do for ages is sort of like an events thing where I plan an event, either like a paint and sip or I don't know, like a brunch or something, and people can buy tickets and they can either come solo or they can come with a friend, and it's just a way of like people making friends and meeting new people. Because I think in your 20s you can have friends, but obviously if they're also interested in different things to you and you want to find new people that are interested in a certain thing that you're interested in, I think there needs to be more ways of making friends, especially in your 20s, because it can be quite hard. If you're not making friends at work, then it's quite hard to make friends elsewhere. So obviously me enjoying solo travelling and doing things on my own, because I can do a lot on my own now, I literally do everything. So just a nice way for people to make friends. I don't know if that's ever going to be in my path, but that's something I feel like I would be really passionate about.
I think that sounds lovely. Like you said, it is difficult to make friends in your 20s for sure. And I think as well, when, like you said before, your friends are in different places at the minute with like their relationships, getting married, having babies, and if you're not at that place, then you're sort of like, oh, well, I want to make friends that are in the same place as me at the minute.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're not going to still be friends with those as well. Like you just
even if you just
wider.
have like a certain hobby or a passion that you're interested in but your friends aren't, and you want to be able to talk to people and do this hobby with people, like I think that's a good way of making new friends just so you can enjoy a hobby together.
Yeah. Having a wider group of people.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, with the paint and sip, that's the word that I've heard floating around quite a bit recently, I must say. And my partner just goes on about that 24/7. So you've got one customer there already. So yeah, let's go for it.
Love it.
So, just onto the sort of advice and reflection section now. What advice would you give somebody who's just starting their career and also just wants to pursue their personal goals like travelling and content creation?
Yeah, I think both for travel and for content creation, I think you just have to go for it. I think the older that you get, especially with content creation, because obviously you can be quite scared or embarrassed, I think the older that you get, you realise that actually most of the people, for example, when I started at school doing content creation, obviously people had things to say because they're kids and just kids always have something to say. And I think then you get older and you realise that those people really weren't important in my life at all, and whatever they said back then does not matter to me in the slightest now. And also a lot of those people now say to me, oh, that was sick that you had a YouTube channel in school, like I wish I had the confidence. And that I look back and I think it's mad because that at the time they could have made me feel embarrassed and wanting to stop. So I think mainly just do it, like forget what about anyone else or anyone else's opinions, because whatever you enjoy, that's all that matters. And as long as you're enjoying it, David down the road, it doesn't matter what he thinks, because most of the time it's from jealousy or just a misunderstanding of a situation anyway that they're judging. Same with travel. Don't be scared. The thing is, you'll regret it if you don't try it. And you could go solo travelling. Start with a smaller trip. Just do a couple of days somewhere a bit closer. It could be in the country. It could be in Europe if you're in the UK. That's what I did. And you could get there and you might not enjoy it, but at least you've tried it. You're not spending the rest of your life wishing, God, I wish I would have done that. You can always try it, and it's okay not to enjoy it. That's fine. Same with your career. Like, again, you could feel like maybe you're not good enough, but at the start of anyone's career or a new job, you're not going to know it all. It all comes with experience, and the thing is, your employer knows that you're not going to know everything at the start. Like, obviously, the more experience and the more learning and the more teaching of the job role that you get, you're going to become more confident. And the same with confidence. You grow in confidence as you get into a role, and the longer that you get there. So just do it. Don't be scared.
Definitely, I like that advice.
Looking back, what's one piece of advice you wish you could give your younger self?
I'm telling this to my younger self, but I think I also need to tell this to myself now. I think just don't be so hard on yourself. Like, not everything has to be perfect, and you're not going to be good at everything, and it's okay.
So, what's one of the most surprising things you've learned about yourself through the journey of life, through your time through your apprenticeship, travelling, and just, life in general, really?
I think just that I'm a lot braver than I thought. Like, when I look back at everything that I've done, considering how shy I was as a child, like, when I tell you how shy I was, like, my brother would talk for me for, like, the first 6 years of my life. Like, I couldn't even talk to my auntie. I was so shy. My auntie would ask me a question and my brother would just answer for me. Like, I would literally just look at my brother so he could answer for me. So when I think about everything that I've done, because there's been times where I have been nervous or I have been anxious and I've still just done it anyway, I think, that I'm a lot braver than I thought. Because I can remember when I went to that first ever job interview at the hair salon, I was so scared, but I went there on my own anyway, and then I did that, and then all the solo travel that I've done, I just think I'm a lot braver than I thought I ever was.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely interesting.
Is there a question you wished we'd asked you today?
What am I currently watching? and it is, I'm rewatching The Summer I Turned Pretty, and because a new one's coming out in July, and I'm so excited, and I am Team Comrade, So yeah, that probably makes no sense to any of.
No, I haven't watched
I
it.
haven't watched it either, if I'm totally honest, but yeah.
Our viewers might.
Yeah,
That's
give
a
us a
let us
like
know.
if you have
Yeah.
watched it.
Comment what Team Jeremiah or Team Conrad
Yeah,
down
there we
below.
Very good.
And then also, what's one thing you'd hope the listeners take away from today's conversation?
That no matter how scared you are to do something, that it is possible, and just don't take life too seriously. Yeah, yeah, go for what you want.
I heard this quote recently, and it says, if it makes sense to you, it doesn't need to make sense to anybody else.
100%,
I
yeah.
think that's awesome.
100%, yeah. Don't let anyone else's opinions stop you from doing what you want to do.
When you're not working or traveling, how do you unwind? Are there any favourite routines that you have?
I think working out is a big one. I think that just helps my mind to stay steady. And also a good thing is going to the gym in the morning before work, because it feels like you're actually driving to work. That's a little tip that I have. It feels like you're actually going and commuting somewhere. And I just love TV programmes and books and reading. And I've also started painting quite recently. I'm not very good at it, but I think sometimes I really realise that I'm spending a lot of time on my phone, and obviously on computer screens, that I've tried to pick up more hobbies that get me away from my phone. So yeah.
Get the screen time down.
Yeah. It's needed.
Definitely something I need to do, I think. Yeah, I might have to try that one. Just quickly going back though, so have you got any sort of up and coming books that you're looking to want to read, or series that you're looking to watch? What's on your favourite list at the moment that you are looking to get through?
So obviously the new season of The Summer I Turned Pretty. I've got about 3 books at home that I still need to read, because I thought I would be reading a lot more in Thailand, whereas I didn't read as much as I thought I was going to be, because I met people. There's a book, I think it's called The 7 People You Meet in Heaven or something like that. Also The Midnight Library, and they're meant to be books that like really just make you second guess life and stop stressing about life so much. You know, I think The 7 People You Meet in Heaven, it's about how you don't think that you have an impact on people's lives, but even if it's just 7 random people that one day you may have like passed and said hello to, that could have made their day. And I think it's like 7 stories about how this one person impacted different people's lives, which I did start reading that. I really do need to carry on. But yeah, I think I'm in my inspiring book era. Yeah.
Nice. They sound really good.
Definitely, yeah. I'll have to have a check out and see what they're like.
I'll let you know how it is.
Thank you.
Okay. Chanel, we're now entering our Empower Hour, which, as you may know, it's a special recurring segment where we focus on empowerment, and it's designed to inspire us and our listeners.
So, Chanel, can you share a moment or a quote or even a person that has truly really empowered you in your journey?
Yeah, so I think the quote, and I literally heard this from TikTok, you know, when they go around and they like interview older people. There was this man on this bench, and he said, in losing yourself, you find yourself. And I really agree with that, because I think most of like the big things that I've done in my life comes from a time where I felt a little bit lost, and I felt a little bit like I'm not having the best time, I'm not thriving right now. And I think when I am in those times, that's the times I look and I think, okay, how can I change this? Or, you know, something needs to change. So I'm like, I'm just going to book myself 3 weeks in Thailand to try and find myself. And that sounded very cliche. But yeah, I think you have to lose yourself to then be able to do different things to try and find your new self, because we're constantly changing. And yeah, I think that's a good quote.
Yeah, I love that.
I do like that one, yeah. I think that's quite inspiring.
I think I've seen that TikTok. It is interesting, for sure. Chanel, thank you so much for being here today. We've loved hearing about your journey through travel, vlogging, apprenticeships, and everything in between. You've truly inspired us.
And a big thank you to everybody listening as well. We really do appreciate you joining us for MBKB Talks.
Be sure to follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the socials.
And also keep your eyes peeled for the next guest, as we will announce this shortly.
Yeah. And don't forget to like, comment, share, follow, subscribe. And if you've got any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. We'd love to hear what you've got to say.
And yeah, thanks again, Chanel.
Thank you.